Okay, day number 2, which for some of you that have been following the channel know that this is the second squat session out of 4 for the week, which is based on the Smolov base cycle. So the squat days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So on the last video you would have seen Monday session. Then yesterday was a conditioning day, so I did some like running and a few other bits and pieces, and then came back in for the squat session today. So I did my first 3 sets of 115. I'm trying to be patient with my rate of progression on the squat because as soon as I go too heavy, I feel like I start to grind out reps really quickly, and it changes into more of a hinging or deadlift type movement instead of a squat where I'm getting my pelvis travelling straight up and down as vertically as I can. And this session went really smoothly. I ended up going up to 120, which, based off my working max of 160, which I hit last week, is just over 75%. So yeah, pretty good. The sets 115 was feeling really comfortable, and I ended up pausing this last rep of my third set. But yeah, this was just another session in the books. Like once you've got your percentages and your max working weight, the sessions just seemed to like tick over, and I didn't find the volume that hard today. It was 5 working sets, and then Friday's going to be 7 working sets, and Saturday's 10 sets of 3, which is probably going to be the hardest day. Yeah, we'll see how this first week goes. I'm still pretty confident that I'm not going to struggle too much with the volume. So set number 4 here is looking good. What I was thinking about a lot on today's session was, do I want to go down and bounce out the bottom and use that stretch shortening cycle, or do I want to control the lowering phase a bit more? Oh, fuck me. And the answer to that question ultimately comes down to why you're using it. And I guess the answer to that question predominantly comes down to, do you want to use the squat as an exercise to build muscle, or am I using it as an exercise to try and get as strong as I can? And that's why I was in these two minds, because I was like, if I go down and bounce out the hole, I'm going to get more elastic energy from my tendons, and I'm going to be able to lift more weight. But then I also have this other goal of, I use strength training as a tool to put on muscle mass. So anyway, I was going like round in circles in my head with this, and I ended up just going with bouncing out and trying to get from my reps a bit quicker, because there's probably not going to be much difference in the outcome. And I've covered this in previous videos before, but when your sole goal is just putting on muscle mass, it's a really, really slow process. So by focusing on strength, over time you're going to put on muscle anyway, but it's a much more enjoyable process when you're setting yourself these performance goals. And I think I'll pretty quickly close in on a double bodyweight front squat, which would be awesome to hit. My body weight is just over 90 at the moment, but I'm currently in a deficit, so my weight should come down a little bit more. But I reckon I could hit a 180 front squat in maybe 4 to 6 weeks. But I'm going to do probably 3 or 4 weeks of this base cycle where the squat volume is 26 sets per week, and then I'll probably deload and retest and see what I get on the front and back squat again. Anyway, after I finished squats, I moved on to bench press, which was 5 5s at 80%. I'm not pushing the bench press too hard in this cycle. I'm just trying to maintain the strength that I've got in it. So this is my only bench press day of the week. And then there's a few accessory pressing movements in this program as well, like dumbbell press and incline dumbbell press, I think, were the other 2 movements. And supersetted that with weighted chins. Chin-ups or pull-ups, whatever you want to call them. I should call this a pull-up, really. It's something I've never been that good at, and I've just always done sets of like, I don't know, between 5 and 10 body weight, I think. I've never really pushed it that hard, so I thought, um, while this block is primarily focused on the squat, the other um, exercise I'm pushing the hardest is weighted pull-ups. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how I progress on these. Doing pull-ups on 3 out of the 4 sessions, so decent frequency, which should push it on. And all of these sets went really smoothly. I was just trying to get them in. And the lift that I'm struggling the most with at the moment is deadlifts. It just doesn't feel like, ever since I hurt my back, I always feel like I'm slightly rounded in my setup. And then even when I record the sets and play it back on video, even though I feel rounded, it looks really flat. But yeah, it just doesn't feel comfortable off the floor at the moment. I feel like I don't get tight in my setup, and I don't feel that strong in it at the moment. So once I've brought up my squat to where I'm happy with it, then I'll probably go back into a deadlift focus, because I was getting decent numbers on the deadlift just before I did hurt my back. I think I hit a set of 200 for 8, and then hurt my back, and then started pulling more sumo, which was actually feeling really good. I'm still pulling sumo once a week at the moment, which you would have seen in the last video, and got up to 240 for a single on sumo, I think. And now, yeah, even my sumo is still not feeling that great in my setup, so I might just need to change how I set up for it a bit. Potentially pull with a more horizontal back position from the start. But yeah, I just feel like I struggled to get my back in a tight position. And today on deadlifts, I did 5 sets of 2 with 80%, or 85. I can't remember what I programmed as it. I think it was 85, but I put my working max in as like 220. But I did go beltless, which makes a big difference. And I actually loaded the bar incorrectly, so I thought I'd started on 170, but I actually started on 180. Then I went up to 190 for the last 2 sets, and I tried one of them without the straps as well, because I thought that would limit the intensity for me. So like, while I'm doing this much volume on squats, I don't want to push the deadlift too hard. So I thought it would just make me back off a bit, but you'll see when I move on to deadlifts. Like, the set I tried without straps was horrendous. Yeah, I like really struggled towards the lockout on the first rep, and then the second rep was a little bit better. But overall, another good day of training. Nothing like groundbreaking, just like another solid session in the book, which is how most of your sessions should be. You shouldn't have to push every single session and exercise to the absolute limit. Like, most of these sets today were probably a 6, 7, 8 RP for me, so like always 2 or 3 or probably more left in the tank, which is a really good spot to be in, and hopefully it will leave me feeling fresher for the heavier squat days at the back end of this week. Tomorrow's going to be another conditioning day for me. I'm just doing some steady state. I'll probably run for anywhere between half an hour to an hour tomorrow, and yeah, hopefully not. The other thing I keep going around in circles in my head at the moment is, what like modality of cardio do I do? Because I really like running, and while I'm still playing rugby, it makes sense to run, because that's obviously a running based sport. But you do get more muscle damage from running compared to something like cycling. So I'm like weighing up my options there as well. Like, it's important to me that I do cardio because of the health benefits, but yeah, like how much that is going to interfere while I'm doing this amount of squats, and do I want to limit the muscle damage on my legs while I'm trying to bring my squat up? So that's something I need to consider. But I'm going to stick with running for now. I'm also playing touch rugby like twice a week, so I'll probably hit about, I don't know, maybe just under 20k running this week, which isn't that much volume, but is going to have more of a, I don't really like the word interference, but more of an interference effect on pushing my squat on, compared to like cycling or some other like non-impact form of cardio that's not going to cause as much muscle damage. But yeah, anyway, that's something else for me to consider. Yeah, like I said, I'll stick with running for now. See how this first week of squats go with the smaller base cycle, and maybe make a few adjustments for next week.